Is Apple considered a monopoly? Have you ever wondered if Apple is a monopoly? This question has sparked a lot of debate, especially with the Epic Games versus Apple case making headlines. To understand this, we need to look at what a monopoly really is. A monopoly happens when a company has total control over a market or product. This allows them to set prices and limit competition without alternatives for consumers. In the case of Apple, the focus is on its iOS App Store. This is the only official platform for distributing apps on iPhones and iPads. Apple requires all apps for iOS to be available only through its App Store. Developers must also use Apple's payment system for in-app purchases, which can take up to 30% of the revenue. This level of control has raised questions about whether Apple is acting in a way that harms competition. Epic Games, the company behind Fortnite, took action against Apple. They argued that Apple's practices are monopolistic. Epic claimed that Apple forces developers to use its payment system, does not allow other payment methods, and blocks app distribution outside the App Store. They challenged the 30% commission and said these rules hurt both competition and consumers. In 2021, a court trial found that Apple was mostly in the right. The court ruled that Apple was not a monopoly under federal antitrust laws in 9 out of 10 counts. However, it did find that Apple violated California competition law. This was due to an anti-steering policy that stopped developers from telling users about payment options outside the App Store. As a result, Apple had to allow developers to link to external payment sites. Still, Apple could keep its control over app distribution and requiring its payment system within apps. In 2023, an appeals court upheld this decision. It agreed that Apple has control over app distribution but maintained the ban on anti-steering policies. The United States Supreme Court decided not to hear further appeals in 2024, leaving the lower court's decisions in place. From a tech perspective, Apple's control over the App Store creates a secure environment for users. This supports privacy and security standards. However, it also limits competition in app distribution and payment processing on iOS devices. This affects developers and consumers alike, possibly leading to higher fees and fewer choices. So, is Apple considered a monopoly? Based on current legal rulings, no, it is not classified as a monopoly under federal antitrust law. However, it does hold a significant amount of power in the iOS app distribution market. Its practices have been partially limited to allow more payment options for developers. This situation highlights the ongoing challenges between platform control, innovation, competition, and consumer choice in the tech world.